Now, traditionally, investors have gained access to alternatives through hedge funds. Now, a hedge fund is simply refers to a legal structure, typically a private limited partnership that invests in alternatives. They'll often describe a hedge fund as a fund that's seeking an absolute return, which means they want to make money regardless of the direction of the stock market. Now, they were called a hedge fund because the original intent was to hedge against a decline in the stock market. Today, many hedge funds are really misnamed, as they're not even trying to hedge out market risk, but the name is kind of stuck and refers to any kind of private investment that's following these alternative type strategies. Now, unfortunately, hedge funds have a lot of serious drawbacks. First of all, they're unregulated. They're generally illiquid. It may be difficult for a hedge fund investor to get your money out when you want to. They're generally only open to qualified investors, typically those with net worths greater than $1.5 million. They often come with very high costs. So a typical hedge fund arrangement might be to charge a fee, an ongoing management fee of 2%, plus 20% of the profits the fund makes above some threshold target. That's just kind of a typical fee arrangement. Many hedge funds charge even more than that. Hedge funds generally have a lack of transparency. As an investor in a hedge fund, you don't really know what the fund holds. The hedge fund manager will say, oh, well, you know, that's all proprietary and we can't disclose our secrets. And so if you like investing that way, that's fine, I guess, but you really don't know what you're invested in. And then finally, the hedge fund industry has unreliable performance data. You might read an article that maybe hedge funds have averaged 15% returns for the last 20 years. And the problem with that is there might be survivorship bias in the data. For example, hedge funds that maybe failed and went out of business during that 20-year period may not be included in the calculation. Also, hedge funds are subject to self-reporting. So if you're a hedge fund manager and you have a hedge fund that's done well, you, of course, will want to brag about it and get included in those statistics. But if your hedge fund did poorly, you're not going to be inclined to want to brag about that, so you simply will choose not to tell anybody about it. So there's self-reporting problems in the data. Fortunately, more recently, we have this concept called liquid alternatives. And what that refers to is that some hedge fund strategies are now available in a mutual fund or an exchange-traded fund structure. Those vehicles are regulated by the SEC. They do provide periodic shareholder reports and are subject to annual audits to confirm they actually own what they say they own. Mutual funds and ETFs have daily pricing and therefore daily liquidity. You can get out of each fund or ETF anytime you want. Obviously, these come with much lower costs. Typically, mutual funds do not have any type of performance fee. I checked Morningstar's directory, and in the broad category of alternative mutual funds, there were over 2,000 currently listed. That's grown immensely over the last few years. Now, here's some examples of liquid alternatives. These are all investment strategies that we would say meet our definition of alternative that are available in a liquid mutual fund or ETF format. And we'll talk about each one of these in a little bit more depth in a moment, but let's just run through them real quickly here. We have real estate, commodities, emerging market debt and currency, managed futures, merger arbitrage, energy infrastructure, timber, and business development companies. Those are the alternatives that we use in our firm. Other firms may use some of these other strategies that are out there, such as long short, that can be equity or credit, market neutral, net short, and global macro. We've looked at some of those and have decided to pass at this time, but they should at least be included in the list of liquid alternatives.